All right, we're going to go ahead and talk about Congress today. I'm going to talk about the structure of Congress as well as the duties of Congress and its level of power. All right, to start with, we describe Congress being a bicameral legislature, which means that it consists of two houses. And so, this was drawn up with the new Constitution. If you remember, this was one of the agreements. The smaller states, of course, wanted their own house. And under the Articles, the federal Congress had only one house, and each was represented equally. But under this new structure, Article 1 of the Constitution divided congressional power into two houses. Okay, let's first talk about the Senate. With the Senate, each state is allotted two senators per state. And so regardless of the state's populations, each state has two senators. Traditionally, the Senate is actually considered to be the more mature body of Congress. It's considered to be the upper chamber, at least that's the way the founders had envisioned it. If you look at the requirements for senator, it's older than a member of the House. I believe it's 30 years old, and in the House, you can be 25 years old, which is kind of crazy to think. But back in, going all the way back to, the early, or I should say the mid 1700s, I mean, life expectancy was, not very long compared to what we have today. So actually 25 and 30 years old, there seems to be a good reason for that. The other important thing to talk about is that senators actually serve 6-year terms. I think most Americans think they serve 4, but in fact they serve 6. And that's longer, of course, than most those of House members. And the reason they gave senators 6-year terms was to insulate the Senate from immediate public pressure. Okay, so hopefully that becomes understandable as we keep talking about this. The senatorial rules, there are more constitutional responsibilities in the Senate as compared to the House. And it is important, I've already mentioned this, but again, the senators actually represent the entire state, and that gives them more constitutional powers as a result. So senators might be or may be connected to the specific needs of individuals, in fact, of their constituents. They'd be less concerned with them because, they have the whole state to be thinking about. Okay, so next we're going to talk about the House of Representatives. And in this case, we've got the representation based on the state's population, which is obviously different from the Senate. And the more populous states have more representatives, while less populous states have fewer. But federal law sets the number of representatives in the House of 435. Right. In terms of representation in the House, the number of representatives each state receives, in order to determine that, it's dependent upon a census that's taken every 10 years. It's called the decennial census. So every 10 years, population is counted in each of the states, and this is in the Constitution. And as we know, populations change every 10 years. States either gain population or lose population, and so what happens is what's called reapportionment after that 10 years, and that's where the representatives only need to be, in fact, 25 years old to run for office. But during reapportionment, literally dependent upon a state losing or gaining population, that'll give them the number of representatives. Now, representatives serve 2-year terms, unlike in the Senate where there's 6-year terms. And that means there's more turnover generally in the House than in the Senate, because every 2 years the House member is up for a vote. So this shorter length term makes representatives more responsive to their constituents as they face re-election shortly after taking office. And so representatives are often described as House members are in a constant state of re-election. That's what someone has said about their terms, and the founders wanted it that way. They wanted them tied closely to their district, so that they would meet with their constituents regularly. All right, so what about House member roles? Okay, so given the larger size of the House, there are 435 members and 100 senators, the House members are more closely, as mentioned, to their specific issues and concerns of their districts. Because these representatives represent a portion of the state rather than the entire state itself. So, for example, Zoe Lofgren represents the Monterey area and as well as San Jose and other parts, I think Gilroy as well. And so she's responsive to the immediate needs of this area. And what would those immediate needs be? They could be, for example, Veterans Affairs, since we have this large VA center in Marina, agricultural interests as well because of Gilroy and Salinas. So, you know, she would be responsive for those types of issues and probably is assigned to a committee related to those items. Due to the shorter terms that House members take, they're less likely to form bipartisan coalitions to pursue their legislative goals. So in other words, they tend to work more on their own, pursuing their own goals than making sure that they're voting in line with all the Democrats or all the Republicans in the House of Representatives. Finally, Congress is the legislative branch of the government, and its primary role is to make laws. No other branch of the federal government has this power. So the lawmaking power is unique to Congress.